The Swedish index is trading right at its all-time high, but even if it were to break above, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all safe and good. For there are some hidden traps you need to know about. You may wonder why we focus so much on the indices lately. Well, there's a reason for that, and that reason is as simple as it is important. For whatever happens on the indices paves the way for everything else. One too many people out there, hooligans in particular, seem to believe that their special gem and pride of joy is exempt from any macro movements and herd psychology. But there's reality and there's disillusion. I'm here to tell you to keep it real, for your own sake. For anyone who continues to invest with their heads in the sand will not be mercifully treated once the market decides to turn on them. For at some point it will get nasty, and there will be plenty of people who will cringe in pain and bite their own fists. This will constitute the so-called stupid money, for as they say, a fool and his money are soon parted. But to those of you who come prepared, you may be in for the treat of a lifetime. And being prepared means looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture in turn spells indices. First of all, the indices show a lot of ambivalence. The Swedish OMXS30, for example, shows clear signs of doubt, and it's obvious that the market itself doesn't really know where it's heading. And this index ambivalence is certainly represented in individual stocks too, which is why we haven't made too many traditional technical stocks episodes lately. For no matter how much I roll my charts, the risk to rewards are simply too unattractive. And as mentioned in the previous episode, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And now is not a good time to hold them, unless you're in the guessing business.
2. That's the truth about Las Vegas.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of 3.
But here's the thing, the main purpose of this episode. For not only do the indices show ambivalence, they may also contain hidden traps laid out to surprise and punish as many as possible. Let's now lay out the technicals, but first, not financial advice. Like, share, subscribe, brush your teeth, go to bed, pay your taxes. First of all, we are trading at a double top. Yeah, in fact the very all-time high. And as we all know, this area automatically constitutes a level of resistance. And we're not necessarily talking pedantically down to the very last krona. No, for a double top can technically deviate slightly from the previous top and still qualify. And as we see, the previous all-time high top was at 1905. But even if the current price were to extend to say 1920, it would naturally amount to a new all-time high. But it wouldn't mean we're safe and that it's all up and ahead from there on. No, the price can still turn rapidly sour from there without it losing its status of a double top. So here's the first possible trap. We're trading right at an all-time high resistance level. So what then is needed to move up resolutely? Well, first of all, if we look at the daily chart, we're still trading within a bearish RSI channel, not to mention on the weekly. This needs to change before we're even remotely ready for some steady moves up. For don't for a second expect this indecisive RSI weakness to propel us up to the skies. Maybe this will be the moment where we swap from weak to strong, but until we in fact do so, the market remains treacherous, and any breakout above the previous all-time high may, if not sufficiently supported with power, turn into a false outbreak, a fake out. In such case, it can roll over fast and typically does. Even if we were to break above the all-time high, it's still far from safe. For here's the thing, there's a 1618 fib lurking about like a hidden resistance, and any closing, or even better, any long spike on this fib would borderline still qualify for a technical double top. And unless the RSI shapes up, a rejection at this level might very well amount to a false outbreak. This is especially valid if the trading volumes between the previous all-time high and this fib is average or less. And if we were to get such, then strap yourself up, for we might go down fast. Closing above this fib, however, and with some emerging powers and safety margins, might prove to be the dream spot to ladder in longs. But until then, let's take one step at a time, for we are far from there yet. Now, what's particularly interesting is that we do seem to have a bullish continuation pattern on the hourly, a rising bull flag with a very strong RSI indeed, and a pattern that leans stably from the outside of this long ascending channel. And to be extra clear, a rising bull market flag during a bull market consolidation is on its own really strong. This isolated strength sure underlines the whole business about technical ambivalence. This little flaggy could very well pave the way for a minor explosion upwards, perhaps actually to the 1618 fib. And upon possibly reaching this critical fib level, the prediction from there on much comes down to the overall health and strength. And much of this health and strength can be measured with the market's very own stethoscope, the RSI. And to those of you who haven't watched it already, I strongly recommend you to watch the RSI trilogy. And to those of you who have watched it, you hate my guts for bringing it up in every single episode. If the RSI is strong up on this point, it reduces the risk of being a false outbreak. If not, it proves that the entire run-up was again driven by weakness and indecisiveness. As we can see, this short-term ambivalence may certainly result in a bumpy ride in the upcoming weeks or so, and for that we shall do wise in preparing for. But that doesn't mean the final parabolic fun run isn't still in play. A technical argument that further supports this exponential move, you know, the one that I've been going on about for ages now, is that we haven't seen this technical RSI sprint. We're talking the final explosion of excitement and hype where the RSI frequently trades well and above the upper bullish red line. For look here, we had it prior to the 2008 housing and banking crash, and we certainly had it prior to the 2000 IT crash. But what do we have now? Nothing. Nothing but weakness, with the only meek exception being this little run-up in early 2015. Apart from that, we can count the sorry visits above the upper bullish red line on the fingers of one single hand, and we're talking throughout the greatest bull run in history. So no, I don't think we're done yet. And at the moment, the RSI again struggles to break above the upper bearish blue line. This is weak, and it goes on to show that this entire run-up is fed by nothing but printed money, artificial interest rates, and disbelief. For this is financial bulimia. The market is spoon-fed with ice cream, it's malnourished because of it, and yet goes to the bathroom to throw it all up to stay in shape. This weekly RSI is the health and nourishment measurer for the market. And if it's malnourished after 11 years of ice cream, then don't for a second expect it to be strong once we do get that parabolic run. For that run will be fueled by an amphetamine-infused vanilla sundae before the market heart finally gives up on us. To sum this episode up, I will personally be careful and I will be suspicious about the market in the upcoming few weeks or so, especially about any upwards outbreaks. If we do get an outbreak and new all-time highs, then the 1618 fib is the first level of significance to keep an eye on. If this level is reached and accompanied by a weak RSI, then releasing any long positions might be a sound strategy to avoid unnecessary risks. For as mentioned, this level would still amount to a technical double top, however borderline, and a false outbreak here may plunge us down aggressively and mercilessly. You don't want to be stuck with longs should this occur, for it can get bloody. If, however, we were to move up through steadily gain strength, that will be a different story indeed. One that we will play like Nero's fiddle once we get there. I have personally stepped aside and taken most of my money off the market since a couple of weeks back, and I will continue to stand by the sidelines until this treacherous situation clears up. That was all for now. Thank you and goodbye.